Okay, I think we can slowly make a start here. Hello, and welcome to this new Tresorit webinar. Today we have a very busy schedule, but it's an exciting one because we'll be covering the product improvements and new features from the first half of the year, what's on our product team's roadmap for the rest of the year, and beyond going into 2023. Don't worry, we will also make the time to show you these latest updates in a demo, so you can see for yourself what we're talking about. But before we do start, I want to introduce myself as well as my co-hosts for today, Bobet and Ferenc. Apologies, my slides are a little bit slow, but we can do it. I'm Olivia, and I lead the product marketing team at Tresorit. My focus is on connecting the dots between the products we build and our customers, ensuring we keep developing solutions that meet real needs. Bobet, can you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sorry, I will learn to unmute myself quicker. So hi everyone, I'm Bobet. I joined Tresorit 9 years ago as a member of a marketing team actually, and I led customer marketing efforts for a while. And then I moved to the product team a bit ago, and now I'm the product manager of the workspace team, responsible for developing Tresorit and make it the most useful for you.
Thank you very much. Ferenc, do you want to continue and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. So my name is Ferenc. I'm one of the product managers here in Tresorit, and I'm the PM in the administrative and control capabilities team, which we simply call the control team. And we are in charge of all the necessary features for IT administrators in Tresorit.
Thank you very much. So now that that's done, we can dive right in. Just to let you know, there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen where you can share your questions as we go through. You can even do so anonymously. And we are going to have two short demos, one by Bobet, one by Ferenc, and we'll have a short break to address these questions after each of those little demos. That's the housekeeping for today. So I am going to start by giving you a little bit of an overview of how far we've come this year already. We focused on three main problem areas: building an incredible admin console that puts you in charge, being the best at secure, intuitive file sharing, and beefing out our integrations offering. So I'm going to give you a little quick sort of tour, but we'll have some deeper dives later on. In terms of admin capabilities, to start there, we've extended our SSO options to allow an integration with Google Workspace. So that's enabled a one-step sign into Tresorit for users, and therefore even easier user management for admins. Tresorit now also supports user provisioning and deprovisioning. So you can simply easily automate user management within your organization when you connect all of your apps to Azure AD or Okta. When it comes to secure file sharing, real-time email notifications for live links gives you even more control now over what happens to the content you share. So you are notified every time someone accesses your shared link. This way, you know if and when the intended recipient has downloaded your file, and you can be alerted in that way of any unauthorized access. Subfolder sharing is a feature that has been highly requested, and we're super happy to have shipped this now. Being able to share subfolders helps you stay in control of your data, and it makes sure that the right team members can have access to the right level of information. So it's particularly useful if you're collaborating with external parties on case files, for example, or on a project basis. You'll find out more about this capability in just a short while. Lastly, but not to say the least, we launched email encryption and integration to the Outlook ecosystem this year. It's a huge milestone for us, and it's a truly intuitive way to keep sensitive email data confidential. So with this add-on to Outlook, sending and receiving encrypted emails is absolutely hassle-free, and you stay in charge of your data even after you hit send, which I know has been my problem more than once. So there's no need for recipients to have a Tresorit account, and they can reply in an encrypted way to that email using our web experience. I'm afraid we won't have time to go into this feature today, but if I've managed to pique your interest, there is a Tresorit webinar that you can go back and watch on demand. And most importantly, you can go and try out email encryption for free today. So why not go and do it? So with this, I'm going to hand over to Ferenc to chat you through the Tresorit admin and control capabilities in a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Olivia. So as it has been mentioned, we were working on single sign-on, for example, but there were much more in the last couple quarters. We focused on easier user management for Tresorit administrators. And as a first step in this effort, we implemented domain verification, which enables you to claim ownership over your domain or even domains if you are using multiple ones. We also added Google as an extra option for single sign-on. We already provided Azure AD and Okta in the last year. And our recent addition to this user management feature set is user provisioning, which is implemented in Azure AD and Okta currently. And why do we do all this? Usually when you hear a product manager or a UX expert speaking about things, they explaining use cases and goals and visual and visions. Now, our vision is to provide a good night's sleep for the customer. And in our case, in the case of the control team, the customer is the IT administrator. So hopefully we provide a good portion of good night's sleep for the IT admins. I prepared a quick demonstration for you. If we go forward, yes. So if there's any IT admin among you, you might have seen this earlier. This is basically the dashboard of your admin center in Tresorit. Here you can see a summary of your users, how many pending ones you have, what's the total storage capacity you have, and which portion of this is currently in use. And there's also some basic information regarding devices and the ratio between mobile and desktop. But we are not really interested in that today. Feel free to create an account and try it out if you don't have a Tresorit subscription yet. Now we will go into some more advanced stuff under the settings page where the magic happens. So here you can see also some basic settings like customization and defining the company name. But go for the advanced features, and maybe the name already gave it away. I wish to start with advanced control, which is basically the very first step that you have to take in terms of user management in Tresorit. It's a subscription level policy, which is highly recommended to enable. If it's enabled and if the users accepted it, then the administrator of the subscription will be able to reset passwords for the users. So that's the only way to enable the administrator to do such thing. Okay, let's move forward to domain verification, which I already mentioned. So why is it good if you verify your domain? It's basically when you claim ownership over your domain, we can grant you certain rules to apply to new registrations in Tresorit. So when you verify your domain, you will be granted the option to select from 3 separate rules. And one of those rules is to, do not add to subscription, which means when a new registration comes to Tresorit with your domain, but outside your business subscription, we simply let that email address to create a new subscription, but you will be notified about this action. The next one is sort of an auto assignment rule. And this option is the most widely used among our customers. It basically lets the user to create a new account with your domain, but this account will be prompted to join your business subscription. And this way, there will be no, so to say, free rider accounts or shadow IT and some sort of stuff. And the third one, that is the most strict among the 3 options, is an invite-only registration rule, which means that if anybody tries to sign up to Tresorit with your email domain, they won't be allowed, but they will be enabled to send you a request. And if you accept this request, they will be joining your subscription. Great. Okay, let's move forward to single sign-on and provisioning. So both of these features are built upon identity providers. An identity provider is, if you have an identity provider, maybe I don't have to explain this, but for those who don't have, it's a central hub for user management. There you can do bulk actions, you can create groups and add users to groups and remove them and grant them certain level of access to certain applications. And the single sign-on capability of the identity provider is great in a way that your users don't have to remember passwords for each and every application they are using in the everyday workflows. So basically, they only log in to the identity provider and they authenticate to all the applications via that provider. When you enable such connection, you need to accept some specific terms. I can promise you there is nothing fishy in that specific terms. We simply state that certain information will be sent over, will be shared with your identity provider to be able to enable such connection. As you can see, we are supporting currently these 3 providers, Azure AD, Okta, and Google Workspace. And for the sake of this demonstration, I choose Azure AD because that's the most widely used in our customer bases. So what you need to do to set up such integration is basically copying 2 IDs from the Azure portal back to Tresorit Admin Center. It's not that easy, I must say. There's a detailed setup documentation in the knowledge base of Tresorit, which you need to visit. Yes, that's what you see now. There are several steps, but we cover the whole flow. You only need to follow the instructions. There's a separate instruction set for Okta and a separate one for Google. But there's also some generic information about managing those users and what you as a user should know about migration from password access to single sign-on access, for example. And yeah, that's what you see in the Azure portal. It slightly differs from an Okta portal. You need to find those IDs which are required. In our case, those are the application or client ID and the directory or tenant ID. Most commonly, you will find those under app registrations, but I also know a flow which is somehow leads you through the enterprise applications menu, and there are also displayed these sort of IDs. What you need to do is to copy both of those IDs and copy those back to the Tresorit Admin Center. And after that, there will be some extra steps which we cover just in a few seconds. Yes. One pro tip, watch out which ID is copied to which field, because there has been some misunderstanding in the past. Yes, we also require your password again, just to make sure that you as the administrator are initiating that process. And hopefully you will see the same success message as we see now. There's one extra step. In case of single sign-on enablement, now you have a connection between the identity provider and Tresorit, but you still need to roll out the single sign-on for your users. It means that you have to activate single sign-on for certain user groups, and user groups are called policies in Tresorit. And it's a great thing that it's not automatically enabled for all the users, because you might use external users as well. You might have freelancers, maybe some of your customers are invited to Tresorit as well. So you can simply activate single sign-on login for those users who really need it and who really can use it. Okay, let's jump to provisioning. As you can see from the green checkmark, single sign-on is activated and working. So provisioning is sort of a sibling feature to single sign-on. As I have mentioned, it's also built upon the identity provider, but single sign-on affects how the users can log in to Tresorit, and provisioning affects if the user can log in to Tresorit at all. So with provisioning, you can simply add users to Tresorit or to any application, and you can simply from this central hub of user management, the identity provider, you can simply revoke that access as well. In terms of provisioning, you don't have to choose between providers when you're setting that up. It's not because we are not supporting more than one, we are supporting Azure AD and Okta as well. But both of those solutions are built upon the so-called SCIM standard. So there's no need to differentiate between them. As you can see, we provide you with a URL and we provide you a generated API token. And it works a bit the other way around, as you have seen in single sign-on. So now we provide you with these values, and you need to copy both those values to your SCIM provisioning application in Azure or in Okta. And after you copy both of those values, you need to click done. You won't see the whole setup process now because we did not allocate enough time for that, and it would be quite boring. Trust me on that. And after you did that, you click on done and the green check mark appears again, and you can freely add and suspend users as well in your identity provider. So just to quickly sum up what we did here, it's basically a 101 to advanced user management. The very first thing to do is to enable advanced control. I highly recommend it. Domain verification is also a must. Especially if you are using multiple domains and if you want to watch out for your users. And in case you are using identity providers, single sign-on is a very great tool to make the life of your users easier. And provisioning is a great tool to make your life easier if you're an IT administrator, because it can reduce the manual day-to-day work a lot. So, I would like to thank you for watching this. And if you would have any questions regarding any of these features, yes, that's the Q&A section.
Thank you very much. And we'll just pause to have a sip of water and let you post any of your questions. Okay, maybe a few more seconds. I can see some questions coming on. Yeah. Great. I think we can start when you're ready, Ferenc.
Yep. I found a few questions. Yes. So, does provisioning allow users to be allocated to different policies? That's a great question. Currently, via provision added users will be assigned to the default policy. But we are planning to improve the capabilities of provisioning, and it's definitely on the roadmap in terms of provisioning. There was another question regarding provisioning. It was mentioned that single sign-on can be enabled on a group level. Does this also apply to user provisioning? It's a great question. No, but when you enable provisioning, it does not mean that you from now on you won't be able to manage users via the admin center user interface. So no, it don't have to be enabled on a group level. You can still add, suspend, and delete users from the Tresorit admin center as well. Okay, I don't really see any more admin related questions.
I've seen one come in, which is maybe not directly linked to the admin features, but a question around email encryption, which we also mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, around email encryption availability for Apple Mail or other mail software, for example. Email encryption is currently available on Windows Outlook desktop app. We do have plans to roll it out to different email clients. So, and that's something that you will hear about in our future looking roadmap. just towards the second half of this webinar. So yes, we have planned to roll out our email encryption solution to many more email clients. Okay, I think we need to move on just to make sure that we have time to go through the rest of our demos and content. If we haven't had a chance to get back to you live, we may have a little time at the end of this webinar, and if not, we will, as usual, come back to every single person, address every single question in a follow-up to this webinar. Either you will receive a personal answer from one of the team, or we will also circulate an FAQ when we forward you the recording of this webinar. So we won't leave any questions unanswered. Thank you very much. So for now, I would like us to continue and move on to the secure workspace at Tresorit. And for that, I'm going to hand over the mic to Bube.
Thanks. Today I'd like to talk to you about two things we released in the first 2.5 quarters of this year. One of them is the new layout in apps, and the other is Subfolder share. I will start with the new layout, which is we introduced a simple layout that offers more platform native experience. But yeah, it sounds good, but what does this mean? First, we got rid of the navigation loopholes. So if you are familiar with the app or use the app regularly, we often got the feedback that it's really hard to track on which hierarchy level you are in, and whether the thing you are clicking applies to a file, a folder, or something else. So those are gone. Also, the Tresorit app now looks more like your file browser, and from that, we really hope that when new users join to Tresorit, they don't have to learn a whole new file management system. So we believe it will offer a better onboarding experience. And we also let the name Tresor go. If you are with us from the very beginning, you know that we called folders Tresors from since the day we launched Tresorit. And from now on, they will be simply folders. I have to tell you that I think I spent a good bit of my marketing career explaining what a Tresor is and why we actually call a folder, an encrypted folder, a Tresor. And under the hood of this change with the new layout, we realized that it's time to let it go, and we changed the name. So from now on, or from a few months ago on, you will see a folder as a top level hierarchy item in Tresorit. And that's about it. If you have questions about the new layout or something is not intuitive, let us know. We are ready to learn, because this is new for us too, after quite a few years with the old one. And we introduced Subfolder share end of April, early May. And why we believe this was a very important feature, besides lots of you asking for it. It's been sitting on the top of our feature list quite a while. So why we believe this was important? Because I think now Tresorit really fulfills the promise, what we say in basically all our marketing materials, or we used to say it, that you don't need to change your existing folder structure in any way if you want to share content with your collaborators or with others. And this was true, just not in a case if your content was already in a Tresor, because then you kind of have to move it out in order to be able to share it with the right persons and the right level of access. So now when you store all your data in Tresorit, you can keep all existing shares without changing the structure, and do new ones and create new shared folders. You can give granular access So you can ensure that the right persons have the access to the right level of information, invite contributors, for example, to a specific project folder without revealing other content to them or having to reshare the project folder with your team, because they will only have access on your contributors will only have access to the bit you designed them to have access to. You can work together with multiple parties simultaneously without letting them access each other's contributions. So for example, if you are in a line of business where you collect lots of data from outside your contributors, think about a marketing agency, think about an accountant, think about HR, for example, within a bigger organization, you can do that under one project folder, and your contributors won't have access to each other's files and content. So it's what we hope is that with subfolder share, Tresorit is now more ideal for project-based works. So you can easily grant access for the duration of the project. You can revoke access at the end of the project, and contributors will have only access to the right bit of the data, what they need to. So I would like to show you a short clip of the feature in action, how it actually works. What you can see is that we now offer two types of folders, next-gen folders and classic folders. Technically speaking, we need to edit the next-gens to keep the end-to-end encrypted environment intact and enable you to share folders at the same time. So we will be moving away from the classic folders, but the two folders come with different feature sets for now. Next-gen folders are ready for subfolder sharing, but some of the original folder features, for example, link sharing, is not yet available with the new setup. Classic folders will have the capability for sharing links. So think about invite links, think about file request links, but subfolder share is not yet available with them. So once you select the right type of the folder you would like to use, or the type of the folder you would like to use, you just click share, and from that moment on, actually sharing will not change for you at all. There is the right panel, click sharing and invite members, you add the email address, and they will have access to the right hierarchy item within the folder. So you will be able to go down any levels within the hierarchy. And yeah, I think that's that about subfolder sharing. If you have questions, I think this would be a good time to ask them.
I have one.
Go for it.
Which is actually a question to the attendees here. We're very curious, just for our own information, to hear whether you've already had a chance to try Tresorit's subfolder sharing function. So if not already, you should see a pop-up appear on your screen. Just let us know by one click if it's something that you've already had a chance to try out. I just want to do like a quick quick pop quiz before we go into the Q&A, and I'll hand over back to you, Bobo, to handle the Q&A in just a few seconds. Okay, so the numbers are coming in, and a lot of you haven't had the opportunity yet to try the subfolder sharing feature. Now that you have seen this webinar, I would encourage you to immediately, no, after this webinar, not now, to immediately go back and try it, and let us know how useful it is for you and what we might be able to do to make it even more useful. Thank you very much for your reply. Thank you. Okay, over back to you, Bobo. Thank you.
Okay, I will answer the first one. Can we have a sneak peek at the new layout? Actually, it's out for everyone, generally available. So if you pop up your Tresorit app, you should be looking at it. If you don't, although, let us know, because that's trouble, like huge trouble. So that was an easy one. The next one would be, does the people to whom I share folder need a Tresorit? They ask user, but I would guess account. Yes, definitely. So if you would like to, yes and no, it depends how you share. So if you choose subfolder sharing, for example, or share the folder within a thread and invite the user into the folder, so you set up a bit longer collaboration in our terms, then they will need to have an account. So if you, in most cases, if you expect back a file or something like from them, yes. But there are cases when you just want to share it like a glimpse of a treasure at a certain moment, then you can do it with link sharing. I would recommend using the classic folder type for that. And you can even ask them to send back files to you in a one-off way that's called folder request within Tresorit. So it depends. I would say, or I would recommend to set up Tresorit in a way that fits your use case in this case. So if you are going for a longer collaboration, set up a Trezor, invite the user as a Trezor member, and they will need to register an account. If you are just sharing something and they just need to have access on the other side, then you can do that with a link and no, they won't need a Tresorit account. There is this, is subfolder share available for anyone? Yes, this feature will be available for anyone. We are in the release process and we hope to complete it by mid-August. So if you don't have it yet, don't worry. You will by mid-August. Okay.
That's an interesting one, maybe. Would it be possible to change a normal folder to a shared folder?
Where is that question? Can you help me? It's down.
Yeah. If it's possible to change a normal folder to the shared new gen folder, can you convert it?
So you mean migration, like migrate from a classic folder to a new one?
I believe that was the question.
Currently, we don't offer. Oh, okay, thanks. Now I see the question too. So currently, we don't offer an automated way for migration. Once we complete the next gen folder feature set, then we will surely add a way to do it. For now, it's all manual. So create next gen folder and move the content of the old folder or the classic folder to the new one. That would be the recommendation. However, note that it will break links and you will have to add everyone again within the shared folder. So I don't say I don't recommend it because there are use cases that are better supported with the next gen folders, but it depends on that, whether it's worth the manual work or not.
Thank you. I think there were
folder sharing. Is there a limit on the number of levels or the number of folders? No, I don't think there are any. Yeah, there is this question again. Is there an option to convert a legacy folder to a next gen? That's already answered in the previous one.
I think that, yeah, we had this question a few times. I think we have maybe time for one more, Bebe, before we have to continue on.
Do you plan to integrate all the other older features for the new folder type as well, and then make the old format legacy one? Yes, absolutely. We have it on our roadmap, and as I mentioned, ultimate migration is not yet available. We plan to offer a way like that because okay, that's actually a really good time to share that. If you have a requirement about the migration from the classic to the next gen type of folder, and you can share a use case that supports that, we would be really, really grateful if you share that via email or any other channels we will be sharing at the end of the webinar, because we are actually in the phase of collecting user feedback on how we should do the migration. So it would be a really, really big help for us, because the more we know, the better we can design the product.
Thank you. And yes, we will give you guys a little bit later on a way to get in touch for any of your sort of like product or feature requests. Just maybe one slightly more admin question that we've had through, can we have a link to the email encryption feature video? We will make sure to include some links around email encryption in our follow-up email, so look out for that. We'll make sure you have an easy way to find it. Thank you. Okay, so in the interest of being able to cover all of the exciting material that we have, let's move on to the next section, and I'm going to hand over back to Ferenc to talk about the road ahead for Tresorit.
Thank you, Olivia. So let's look a bit into the future, at least what awaits us in the rest of the year. We still have a focus on user management, so we are improving our current single sign-on solution and adding extra providers to that. We also wish to provide an easier way for the user offboarding and to take over folders and to keep the data intact, which belong to a user who is currently under the process of onboarding. Obviously, we are focusing also on secure file sharing, because that's our core offering. We are including new security settings and governance options for our email encryption solution. We are aiming to provide you with the option to include your company domain in the shared link URLs. So it will be a branding option, and it will increase the fidelity of your links. And we are also preparing a brand new product in our portfolio. I won't say more words about that, but I'm pretty sure you will be up to date just in a few months about that. And last but not least, it still comes in this year, a brand new integration. We enable SIEM integration, so the administrators and your security teams will be able to integrate Tresorit to your already existing SIEM systems to provide an extra layer of security. And that about 2020, and let's look even further into the future, to the next year. We are currently in the discovery phase of API, and how can we provide API to support use cases, mainly in large enterprises. So if you're a large enterprise, you're very welcome to give us feedback on that, or provide your use case in terms of discovery. And in terms of secure file sharing, we are still going to be improving our email encryption solution. We are rolling out new plugins to new email clients, and also adding support for mobile email applications. And there will be another brand new product in our portfolio at the beginning of the year. And we also planning to do sort of, let's call it universal sharing, which will give more freedom for sharing the content and all your sensitive data.
Thank you for that look ahead. Hopefully it's made everyone really excited. So as we had started saying, you've heard about subfolder sharing and how it was super important for us in building that feature, to hear from people that needed that feature. And I just want to reiterate here that this is how we learn that we're meeting real customer needs, what our areas for improvements are, what capabilities we should prioritize next, and how we can make ultimately the solution work best for you. So at the end of this webinar, we will share an email address. Please save that, screen grab it, type it down on a post-it note, and we'd love to hear from you whenever you have feedback that can help us build a better product. Before we do wrap up, in the interest of managing everyone's sort of time, we're going to make sure to finish on time. I'd like you all to save the date for our next live webinar in late September. There are 2 dates available, and this is where you'll find out all about this exciting new product that we're launching. So definitely bookmark this. If you want to be the first in the know, I definitely encourage you to keep up to date by following Tresorit on LinkedIn or Twitter and joining us on the 27th or the 29th of September to hear more about this brand new product. If that's too long for you to wait, which, let's face it, the 3 of us know that it's too long without any Tresorit content, you can also go back and watch all of our webinars on demand. Just go to the Tresorit webinars and events page on our website. Here you can find the research@tresorit.com email address. This is the best way for your feedback to get to myself, Ferenc, Bobet, the product team, and make sure it's prioritized and we make a note of all of your use cases. All that's left for me to say now is a huge thank you for joining us today, for your active participation. It was great to see your questions. Thank you also to my co-hosts, Bobet, Ferenc, for going through these features and these capabilities. You've been splendid panelists and great company. And thank you once again. And please take care, stay safe, and see you next time on our next webinar. Goodbye.